Well, let's get started. I want to talk about transacting and deal closing today. And, um, you know, we're all here to help each other. So hopefully there can be some good insight. We've got a lot of gray hairs in the room, except for Soren. So maybe this call will be the benefit to Soren the most. But just real quick, Jeff and Soren, kind of give Rich and Mike a little bit more overview of what you're both doing. I know they've met you before, but let's just give them an overview again. Either one of you can take the floor.
I'll go ahead. I have an office park I'm representing. I have for 6 years now, and we still have it's 100,000 square feet. We're about 60% full, so I've got space over there. I have a property down by the airport, 11,500 square feet I'm working on. And through some of the guys in EXP, I'm working on skilled nursing facilities. I have a buyer for them if they meet his criteria anywhere in the country. And I've gotten some good response. We're looking at one in Wisconsin and two in Texas right now. But if anybody has anything along those lines that you represent, or at least you know of, that might be for sale, and it has to be skilled nursing, not assisted living. But please, I'll put my contact in the chat and get a hold of me. But that's basically what's going on here for me right now at this moment.
Jeff, you ever delve into any multifamily?
Not yet, but I'm wanting to move that direction. But no, I have not.
All right. Rich will be a good contact for you. He's got buyers he's worked with, ready, willing, and able he's been working with them for years. So he's a good resource for you. Soren, tell us a little bit more I know what you're doing, but I want to make sure Rich and Jeff and Michael are aware.
Absolutely. So I am actually mostly I do residential, build homes also. I am currently working with Tom Crumpton. We're trying to sell a trucking company in Auburn. It has 4 or 5 acres, about 80 parking spots. The parking lot generates about $16,000 worth of income yearly. So that's part of it. But we're working on that right now. And I'm also building a headquarters up in Commerce, Eric. You will know where that is, along 85 over there off of exit 147. So I mostly do residential, but dabble a little bit in commercial and business, and I like to partner up with people. But I'm here to learn everything you guys.
So
You guys
when you
know.
say you're building a headquarters, is that for somebody else?
Correct. Yeah. So the trucking company that I did business developing for, I'm just a consultant now. I used to be full time with them. They're at a point where they're renting somewhere now, but they bought 4 acres, and we're gonna build a massive headquarters for them right along 85 across the street from Love's over there. So I'm actually running that project. We're in the beginning stages doing paperwork and stuff like that now, but I'm gonna help them with that. My building company is gonna build it or whatever. Well, I'm gonna build it for them.
Okay.
So yes, sir.
Thanks for that recap.
Yes, sir.
Um, you joined us to see that you're driving, so it's good to have you on the call. Let's talk about something, a lot of what we do. I don't think today's call is going to be very long, but a lot of what we do here within EXP is we're constantly training and teaching and assisting others and building network as we do it. Talk about deals that you work on. They don't normally fall apart because of our effort, but they normally fall apart because they're misaligned early on. Michael, when you hear that, Rich, when you hear that, Jeff, when you hear that, they fall apart because there's misalignment early on. What jumped out at you, or what's an example of where you saw misalignment? What we share here could be beneficial to AU and to Soren. Either one of you can speak up. Misalignment early in the transaction.
It's happened to me recently on my 11,500 square feet. We are advertising it as a one area. It's a building with 2 suites and they're separately metered, but we can't divide the suite because of the way it's built out. And Planned Parenthood came to me about it, and they knew it was 11,000 square feet. And we went through it. Somewhere around 2 weeks into talking to them, they came back and said, "Oh, well, we only need 5,000 square feet. Can you subdivide it?" And we had already gone over it. It can't be, it could be, but it would be so expensive, it's not worth doing. but that just happened on Friday. Whereas we thought we had somebody ready to come in and take the whole thing, then they fall back on a position that they didn't tell me in the beginning. So, yeah.
Just 1 second. 04. I'm just giving code to my sweetheart. So did they just miss it?
I think they knew all along, and they thought they were going to bait me enough that we really want you in here, and then say, well, we only can take 5,000, 6,000. Can you accommodate us? I really do think it was a bait and switch, not a full bait and switch, but I think that was
okay.
Because I expressed this right from the beginning that we couldn't divide it. And it even says it on, my listing and CoStar and flyers and everything. So anyway, but I always look at that as then that wasn't the right person. It's better to move on and get the right person, because if they do that kind of stuff now, what are they going to do down the road that we don't know about, particularly when we get into negotiations?
Sure.
Right.
Anybody else on something where there was misalignment? I've got an example, but open the floor to anybody else. Contractually, maybe something that you missed or would have done different.
We don't seem to have a lot of experience when it comes to like leasing a commercial space, but like you said, most of the things you do are like helping business owners bring together a network of people. So in my industry, we do new construction, ground up construction mainly, and we seem to go through a whole lot of misalignments. Sometimes it's almost impossible to how a project is going to go 100%, right? So we learn a lot of lessons along the way. We go back to the drawing table, we implement the lesson learned, and we get better on the next one. But when it comes to like misalignment, the big piece for us is actually what we do earlier in the stage when we try to understand all these deals, right? Which means from the pre-construction side of things, getting clear scope. This is what the client wants, this is what we offer, and having a process that documents all these and track it, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure we align with the client's expectation, whether someone is looking to lease or someone is looking to buy or someone is looking to build. So yes, that's one example from our take. We can't 100% mitigate it, but we ensure we just document better and we capture all the scopes to prevent misalignment moving forward.
I think the key there is to better document your procedures and capture it so you can cut, copy, and paste and make sure for the next transaction that's in front of them first and foremost. Rich, when you're looking at contracts, I've sent you things that come across my desk. I don't claim to be an expert in multifamily, but you have a system pretty quickly where you have captured previous things like you just mentioned. You've created what I would call some strategic gates. You don't go here until this is answered. What are some strategic gates, Rich, you look for as multifamily deals come across your desk?
Well,
Before
Eric,
that's the first thing you look at before you take the next step.
Eric, what a lot of people need to realize, I work with institutional investors, and institutional investors will look at 500 deals a year and pick one. So your deals have to check off a lot of boxes. And even so, with me, what I do is whenever I get a deal, whether it be from my good friend Eric or anybody else, and I've got sources all over the country given my previous life, the very first thing I do is I underwrite the deal. I take the income and expenses, I take the rent roll, and I take the time to vet the deal so that I can look at it and say, okay, does this have viability? Does this deal have potential? Is it worthwhile sending to a client? And the greatest value I give to my clients is all the deals that I don't send them. Because the bid-ask gap, first of all, has never been wider than it's been the last 5 years. If you think about it, just from a 30,000-foot view, Eric, if you go back 5 years to 2021, interest rates were sub-4. They were in the threes. And 2021 was a massive year for commercial real estate. There was a tremendous amount of acquisitions in 2021. What no one foresaw was in 2022 that we would begin to see 11 consecutive interest rate hikes followed by 8 consecutive pauses. It absolutely stopped commercial real estate in its tracks. People don't realize that between 2022 and 2024, we had fewer transactions, fewer than we did in the '07 to '09 recession because of interest rates. So syndicators who bought all those deals in 2021 at sub threes, they can't sell them because interest rates are in the fives and sixes. It does not pencil out. So the bid ask gap has been huge for the last few years. That's why so many deals that get sent to me, I'll sit there and I'll look at the guy who sent it to me. And I'm like, come on, man, this deal absolutely makes no sense. No one's going to give you a 5 cap in Memphis. It's just not going to happen. So sometimes I can penetrate and have them go back to the seller and say, yeah, let's get realistic. But more often than not, it's a seller who's just looking to get out of a really bad acquisition. And I'll tell you one thing, institutional people, most of them, they were born at night, but they just weren't born last night, and they're just not going to overpay. So it's vetting the deal. And one of the criticisms I have of the younger generation is they just simply pass deals on. You get a deal in your inbox and you pass. No, you got to vet it. You got to underwrite it. Does it make sense for your clients? And so, like I said, my clients always appreciate the fact that if I do send them something, chances are it checks off most, if not all, of their boxes. Even then, the likelihood of them pulling the trigger, getting it all the way across the finish line is minimal because there's so many hurdles to jump over and jump through to get a deal done. So understanding that these numbers are what they are, which is why we've had so few transactions. Good news, folks. Look, we're maybe weeks away from getting a new Fed chair, so I think rates are going to go down. I think that's going to spur on a lot. There's been a lot of geopolitical issues that have really interfered with real estate that we know of. Hopefully, those will be put behind us in the next few weeks. And I really think things are going to take off after that, because once we get rates back down below 5, I think things are really going to take off. So that's my 30,000-foot view, Eric.
I think a real key thing that Rich just said, the value he brings to his institutional buyers are the deals he doesn't bring to them. So, I've got a few fields that I feel really confident in and feel like I've got an expertise in, and I do the due diligence before I share. And I know Rich does it because I am not a guy in multifamily, but I know that he is, and I know he's got gates because he doesn't pass it on until he takes it through his gate. And for you younger guys, Soren and AU, I think it's really important you establish the gate reviews before you go to the next step. It's a go or no go. And if you can take the next step, then you do it. And then that allows you to operate with confidence. But too often, most mistakes are made because you advance to the next gate before you cleared the one you were supposed to be on.
True. Yeah, that's definitely very true. Sometimes we don't. I don't know how to put it, right? I think again, it's the process, right? It's the stage of a company, right? Sometimes, to your point, we understand we need to like stop to assess what we're doing so far, get through the gate review, and see if we need to proceed to the next stage. But sometimes in the process of trying to do that, or in the process of trying to achieve that, there's like some other companies that are like on schedule already. So you trying to stop everything at a get review literally means sometimes communicating to like all the different companies that are waiting to do other portion of their work, right? Which again, this is when we try to balance time and money and scope, right? Sometimes we get to assess, like, does it make sense to like stop at this gate review to like assess it even further before proceeding to the next stage? Sometimes, so it's like trying to put a cost on time and see what makes sense. But yes, definitely we're striving to the point where we able to like just stick to our gate review process and do whatever we need to do to make our process even work better for us.
No. It's putting the disciplines in place that are a part of who you are and what you do. You don't want to put things in place to slow you down, but you want to put things in that protect you. Sometimes we put our drawbridge down too fast and we allow an opportunity to develop, then our time gets into it and we're maybe affiliated with the wrong people. We got to be careful of that. So I'm kind of talking to that younger generation today. What have you seen, Michael, that was broke at one time and you decided to fix it as you were going through building your organization or building your business? Because you've got a pretty broad group now within commercial, residential, and revenue share. So maybe you were going down a path, you tapped the brakes, and then you realigned.
Well, there's a lot of them. It just depends on where in the which one I focus on. For example, I mean, from the point of view of organization and EXP focus is just not getting, it's either not getting or not making sure everyone was plugged in to all the resources they have available to them. That's a big one. Agents that don't, when you're building an organization, when they join your group, they sign on, and then really they don't show up, or you don't, but you're not there for them either. You're not laying out a path for them. So if you can't get people engaged in groups like this, or what EXP has to offer them in the residential, commercial, all the training, residential training, we have a fast cap, and I think one's coming in commercial soon. So what I understand, they're working on a similar type of a program. Fast cap's been incredibly successful on the residential side. Agents that take it list 4 to 5 properties. They write 4 to 5 contracts in 6 weeks consistently. And so the biggest gap is not giving them agents getting plugged in. And the more engaged you are, the more they stay with you and work with you, and grow with you. So I think that's a big one as the gap goes.
Getting the right resources in front of people, making sure they know it, then
yeah, you can't assume it just because, I mean, EXP is big, and we have a lot of resources, and EXP commercial is big and there's a lot of resources. If you go to the EXP commercial page as a new advisor, because I came from the residential side and walked over to the commercial side. I know my way around websites, but it's not always the easiest to find what's most current. Hate to say it, but there's a lot of dead ends. There's a lot of dead links and a lot of dead ends, and they're there, right? There's trainings that used to be live that are now not live, but they still say they're live on one page, and you get to the three clicks in, and they're now pre-recorded. You have to take a certain amount of if you're going, we'll put it this way, Eric, if you're going to take it upon yourself to build an organization, then you have to have a vision of what that organization looks like to be part of my organization, and not just be part of EXP, because EXP is big. It can handle an agent coming on that may, but if you go out and attract someone and actually, let's use the word, recruit them into your organization, then you really need to have a process that follows through on that. And that, it is, and people can see the value you're adding, and you are pointing them to the right places, and you've gone through all of the dead ends, and now you avoid that. They don't have to go down the same dead end pathways. It's quite literally sometimes, right? It's go here, go there. Here's how you get support. Here's how you reach me if you need me. You don't want dependent agents always calling you and reaching you. You don't want that. You want to create independent agents. But same token, if you are building an organization or a group, which is growing in commercial, right? Groups are growing in commercial, teams are growing. I run a team on the residential side, and you need to be able to have your own kind of structure, or at least your own processes, and your ways that you do things, your SOPs, very clear.
I agree.
Otherwise, you can recruit the EXP just straight up. That's okay too. But understand that's the agent that's a different pitch, if you will, than, hey, join the real property team, which is my group. That's a different pitch than, hey, EXP is great. I can just send you to EXP. And then there's people that do that. There's some alphas and betas that just recruit to EXP with thousands of agents.
Something I've been working on beyond the resources is just with my own opportunities, trying to qualify them deeper. And I'm pausing and saying, am I doing everything I can to qualify this opportunity before I take the next step? And I'm being very deliberate with that now. I think, and there's some circumstances where I went through the gate too fast and I could have qualified a little better. And then I lost time. And time is valuable because that time could have been invested in another opportunity. So it's not always about the next opportunity or the next person you meet. A lot of it's about the opportunities in front of you. And are you qualifying and quantifying it properly before you take the next step? And keeping everybody on page, keeping everybody on the deadline, keeping everybody focused, calling and recommending a phone call with the parties when there needs to be tighter alignment, recognizing that the parties are not communicating very well and bringing clarity, clear line of sight to the conversation. having one conversation over here and hearing questions and knowing there's an answer over here, but bringing the parties together to get that continuity so you can take the next step. So expectations are met and the project stays in order. All of these things are, qualifying just a little deeper. So I would just encourage you in this call today, no matter what you're doing right today, look at your top two or three deals and ask yourself honestly, am I qualified as deep? Is there something here I need to go back to today before I go into anything else? Before you shake a hand and meet somebody else, before you put another opportunity on your spreadsheet or your CRM, is the one in front of you clean and clear? The one in front of you. So today, I'm asking everyone, and me included, I've been doing this morning. Tap the brakes on anything new, any other opportunity. But are the contracts you're working right now, or the deals you're working right now, have you done everything you need to do to qualify it further? Don't do anything else until you do that. That's a word I'd give you today.
And I've found myself, Eric, doing the same thing right now, like pretty much prioritizing where is my value being best utilized. Because about 2, 3 weeks ago, I went into like a depression thing. I was just one of those things. It was like really weird. I'm like, what am I doing? And my wife is like, you need to just start saying no because I want to help everybody. I'm out here doing business development, out here doing building, I'm out here doing everything. My wife is like, you need to eliminate everything and see where is soaring, where's the most money coming from and focus on those lines. And the same thing with those deals. There's so many deals that you spend so much time on that's going to have this much income. And then the ones that are bringing you the most money, I'm not focusing enough on, and people are looking elsewhere. So I've kind of been doing the past couple of weeks, kind of like a reevaluation of soaring time because I'm like, why? I'm the most positive, optimistic person in the world that I know. And like, I never thought I'd see myself like just overwhelmed like that. And just like I had to have a real come to Jesus moment, like, hey man, just you're spreading yourself thin. So like, I definitely get what you're saying, like focus on the task right now at hand instead of trying to go get that next lead. Are you maximizing your, giving everybody the full value they deserve of the people that are bringing you bread and butter? So thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm going to add one to it. So after you do that, all right, after you've tapped the brakes and you dig a little deeper and the ones that are in front of you and you've checked them off and you've answered yourself, yeah, I've done everything I need to do here. And here's one thing you can add to it. Don't go to another new deal or a new handshake or a new opportunity. Look at something that has stalled that you already have, and then bring clarity to one opportunity that stalled and revitalize it, so to speak. Take an effort there. A lot of your best opportunities are with old contacts. Jeff, you and I have been talking about that. That's sometimes your best lead is somebody that's in your old Rolodex, an old customer, somebody that gave you a referral before. Hey, you build new homes. Soren, you build new homes. Well, some of your best leads are people that have called you before or made a referral for you before, and you reach back out to them and say, hey, I want to thank you. You did this for me before, and I want you to know I'm always here. And it might stimulate another opportunity for you. So revisit stalled opportunities. I think that's important after you've done this. A lot of times it's not about the next phone call, the next email, the next bundle of mailings you're going to do. It's about what's in front of you and how detailed are you being there. Don't be afraid to have the higher level conversation. Don't be afraid to make the ask. You have to do it.
Yeah.
I had a really high level conversation last night with somebody I really respect and appreciate and have known for a long time. We had a great conversation. This morning, I followed up with a direct roadmap and showed him what the roadmap looks like. Yeah, it's direct. It's there in front of him and it's laid out. So don't be afraid to have those higher level conversations. Remember, clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates actions, and action, when it's aligned, creates closings. I'll say it again. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates actions, and actions, when it's aligned, creates closings. So bring clarity to what you're doing. Michael, clarity to the team. Rich brings clarity before he advances each deal. I know, Jeff, you bring clarity to your clients when representing office space and you're growing a network that's based in the healthcare. I use this as an example because I talk about being an architect of opportunity or being a facilitator. I've mentioned this already a couple times, but just to get you all thinking, there are people within your network, people on this phone call who have an expertise that you don't have. And I'm going to use it again as an example. I'm given some things that are coming across my desk that I'm not an expertise in, but I know who I send it to. He's in Los Angeles and just had a big grandbaby. And he takes that and he takes a look. So I'm just facilitating. Hey, here's an opportunity. I'll let you see what's coming across my desk. You don't have to be the EXP, you don't have to be the expert with everything, but if you see something, you can be a facilitator. You can be an architect of opportunity and share it with somebody else in the group. I'm not afraid to do that. If I can do one deal with Rich, it's probably going to be a good deal. If we do one, if he finds one of the ones I send him, it's probably going to be something we both like. So don't be afraid to do that. But clarity creates confidence. Make sure you've got the gates around your processes, whatever you're doing, that brings clarity to what you're doing. If you've got any ambiguity to the people you're talking to right now, hit the brakes today and get clarity on who you're talking to. That's my takeaway for you today. Get clarity on what you're doing, because that's going to create more confidence, create better action. Those actions are going to create closing. So I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you have a great week. And I appreciate the camaraderie. I really do. I need it. It's good for all of us, but let's go make a deal together today and let's grow together and find opportunities together. Feel free to call me anytime, text me anytime. I'm always available.